Today, we're not just going to listen to a song. We're going to take it apart, piece by piece. Think of Linkin Park's Battle Symphony less as a pop rock track and more like a piece of emotional architecture. It's an anthem of resilience that was engineered from the inside out. So let's dive in. So the song kicks off with this line, this confession. And right away, we're dropped into a state of conflict, right? A search for strength against some kind of enemy. It's a classic struggle we all get. But the real genius here is how the song immediately makes you ask a different question.
And that's the big question, isn't it? What if the enemy you're searching for is you? This battle isn't being fought on a field. It's all happening inside the mind. And this song is basically a technical manual for how Linkin Park turned all of that internal chaos into a symphony of strength.
To really get this song, we have to understand what was going on behind the scenes. Because for the album One More Light, Linkin Park basically threw out their old rulebook. They flipped their entire creative process completely upside down.
I mean, this was a massive change. For years, their method was track first. They'd build the musical house, the beats, the riffs, and then write lyrics to fit inside it. But this time, they took some long-standing advice from legendary producer Rick Rubin and did the complete opposite. They started with the human story, the raw meaning, and then built the entire world of sound around that core emotion.
So what does a meaning-first process actually look like? Well, it didn't start with guitars or synths. It started with talking, just raw vulnerability. The guys would come into the studio every day and just talk about their lives, their anxieties, their memories. It was almost like they were building this huge emotional database before a single note was even programmed.
And the result of getting that raw and honest? A creative explosion. This number, over 150, that's how many demos came out of these sessions. By focusing on the human connection instead of a specific genre, they just unlocked this incredible flow of music. And Battle Symphony is one of the absolute gems from that process.
Okay, so now that we know where all this emotion came from, let's look at the lyrics. Because the words in Battle Symphony are not just thrown together. They're very specific. They're almost like psychological symbols, creating a whole new language to describe what it feels like to fight a battle inside your own head.
Let's start with the big one, the armor. Obviously, we're not talking about literal armor. It's our psychological defenses, the walls we all put up. But pay close attention to the word fuse. He doesn't say fix it or patch it. You fuse something. That requires intense heat, intense pressure. It's not just a repair, it's a transformation. The broken part actually becomes stronger than it was before. That's deep.
Then you've got the sirens. That's not just background noise to sound cool. From a psychoacoustic standpoint, it's a trigger. That high-frequency wail is designed to mimic our brain's own internal panic alarm. It's the sound that tells you you've entered a mental no-go zone, a place of crisis where you feel lost and you're face-to-face with that enemy inside. Which brings us to the title itself, the Battle Symphony. So why that word symphony? Well, a symphony isn't just random noise, it's the opposite. It's about taking dozens of different complex parts and organizing them into one beautiful, cohesive thing. So a battle symphony isn't the sound of chaos, it's the sound of organizing your chaos. It's taking all the painful, broken pieces of your life and arranging them into something powerful that can actually drive you forward.
And when you look at the other lyrics, you see they're building this entire toolkit for resilience. A long memory isn't about holding a grudge. It's about using your past as a strategic guide. Eyes wide awake isn't just about being tired. It's about being radically aware, even in the dark. And then you get this line, the sound of your voice. That's so crucial. It brings in an outside anchor, proving that human connection can be a powerful antidote to all that internal pain.
Okay, so you have these incredibly deep lyrics, but how do you make the music feel the same way? This is where the sonic engineering becomes just as poetic as the words. They had to build an entire emotional environment for this battle to happen in.
And the main goal, according to the legendary mixer Manny Marroquin, was all about balance. On one hand, you have these modern, shimmering electronic sounds, but on the other, you need that grounded human groove that only comes from real drums. The sound itself had to reflect the song's theme, a real beating human heart inside a modern digital world.
You know that catchy, chopped-up vocal melody in the song? Well, that wasn't some random sample they found. Mike Shinoda literally recorded himself singing wordless notes, then chopped the audio into tiny rhythmic pieces. After that, he used plugins to completely change the pitch and character, turning his own raw voice into a brand new lead instrument. It's a perfect mirror of the song's theme, taking something organic, breaking it apart and rebuilding it into something stronger and more melodic.
And even the basic chords are doing some serious emotional work. That progression, G, C, E minor, D. It's like a little engine designed to make you feel something specific. You move from the stable G major down into that more melancholic E minor, but then the D chord pulls you back up. It's this constant push and pull, a cycle of tension and release that's engineered to make you feel hopeful yearning.
And for Chester's lead vocal, every single choice was incredibly deliberate. They had producer Andrew Belucchi guiding the performance. And get this, they did a blind test with over 10 different high-end microphones just to find the perfect one. They landed on a Flea 47, a replica of a classic, because its specific tone could cut through that dense electronic mix while still sounding smooth, dynamic, and powerfully human.
So you've got the lyrical symbols on one side and this amazing sonic architecture on the other. But the real magic is how they fused it all together. And it all goes back to how they started this whole process, with vulnerability.
Mike Shinoda himself called the studio a mad science experiment. You can just picture it, right? Ideas flying around from different people on different computers, all getting channeled into one central mixing board. It was this chaotic, collaborative fusion of raw human ideas and cutting-edge technology.
And that right there, that's the song's true anatomy. It's in perfect equilibrium. A lot of songs have one or two of these things, but Battle Symphony manages a rare, perfect balance of all three. Deep lyrics, innovative sound, and the raw emotional intent that started the whole thing.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway. Battle Symphony is powerful because of how it was made. It's proof that if you start with something as fragile and authentic as a vulnerable human conversation, you can engineer a sonic structure so powerful it becomes a universal anthem for anyone fighting their own battle.
At the end of the day, the song gives us a blueprint for turning pain into harmony, which leaves us with a final question to think about. What parts of your own story could be fused into a battle symphony?